So Oregon is applying to get a waiver so that N'Faly Dante can have another year of eligibility. And on the surface, the waiver should get approved, which is a ridiculously exciting proposition because Dante, who put on one of the best individual championship game performances we have ever seen in any sport by a Duck, going a perfect 12 for 12 from the field against Colorado and sending the Ducks to the NCAA tournament, where he then put up, I don't even remember. He was scoring at will. He was a beast. He was rebounding. He was blocking shots, altering shots. He was doing everything. He's applying for a medical waiver going back to the 2020-21 season where he only played 6 games and essentially saying, hey, NCAA, I should be able to get a red shirt because I only played in 6 games that year. And he didn't apply for it at the time, probably because it was the COVID season and they were all getting an extra year of eligibility anyway. So that's where the situation stands. Don't know where the NCAA is coming down on that, but I feel 60-40 like Dante's going to get another year. But then I started thinking, well, what if it doesn't go Oregon's way? You look at what happened with Tez Walker in college football this past year at North Carolina. He didn't get his waiver approved until later in the year. He should have, but he didn't. It was a very public, high-profile transfer denial case in a year where the NCAA was giving out waivers and extra eligibility like candy on Halloween. They didn't grant him one, and I don't know why. I don't know why, but the NCAA is getting sued for basically everything they're worth, and they could be defunct here in the next couple of months. That's not an exaggeration for those of you who are not familiar with the House v. NCAA case, but I digress. But the question that popped in my head is: does Oregon need N'Faly Dante? Do they have to have him back to be a Final Four contender? The answer is no. They don't need him back. If the waiver gets approved, you take him back, you don't think about it, you don't even need a millisecond to think. You say, where do I sign? How do we get it going? And for those who didn't listen to yesterday's show, Dante got an NBA draft combine invite that he accepted. That does not mean he's done playing college basketball. It just means he's going to the combine, he'll get looked at, he'll do all sorts of stuff. And, it's just a scouting opportunity for guys in the NBA. But Oregon has done such a masterful job over the last couple of weeks in the transfer portal. I cannot say N'Faly Dante is a need. But it's crazy to say that, because last year's team needed him and Kuznard more than anybody else on the floor, and it wasn't close. They essentially, just the two of them, carried the Ducks through the Pac-12 tournament, to the NCAA tournament, and almost to the Sweet 16. It was just those two guys. And to say that, well, you don't need Dante. No, they don't need Dante. Because what I'm saying is, if Dante's waiver doesn't get approved, I don't have lessened expectations of the Ducks. My expectations can't go that much higher unless Dante officially is able to return. But if he's unable to do so, if they can't, if they appeal after it gets denied and that doesn't go through and Dante's Oregon career is actually done, I still feel great about where this Oregon team is at, because you brought in 6'8" Brandon Angel, who can play power forward, and KJ Evans, by the way, can play the 5. He's a more natural 4. That's what he's going to be billed as whenever he puts his name into the NBA draft waters. But Evans is someone who had to play the 5 last year because Biddle and Dante were out with injuries. And Mo Diawara filled in admirably, but didn't play a ton and wasn't on the floor down the stretch. Evans had to be the 5. He had to be the rim protector, and he was great. He was great. And so when you think about that dynamic, you say, okay, so if Evans is one starter and Biddle is probably your other starting center, you can bring the true freshman Traore off the bench as a Frank Kepnong, Mo Diawara type to just give you energy, or Francis Okoro, just a big body that can give you energy minutes, not much scoring, but some defense and rebounding. With Angel in there at 6'8", that's enough size to me for Oregon to be able to still have a good defensive presence, still have enough length, and have enough depth and talent to make a run in the NCAA tournament. That is 100% true. And if Dante comes back, if you're running out a starting 5 next year of Jackson Shellstad, TJ Bamba, I still can't believe they got TJ Bamba. I still cannot believe they got TJ Bamba. But if your starting 5 is Shellstad, Bamba, probably Brandon Angel, frankly, KJ Evans, and N'Faly Dante. Look, there's a question in the football mailbag that I'm going to, as I mentioned earlier, do a deep dive on and really try to give you the best answer I can on what Oregon team is this football team comparable to. It's the best Oregon team since blank. If that were Oregon's starting 5, that would be the best starting 5 Oregon has had since the Final Four run, which even without Chris Boucher was Peyton Pritchard, Tyler Dorsey, Dylan Brooks, Jordan Bell, and oh my gosh, I am forgetting who else started on that team. That's crazy that I can remember those 4. Dylan Ennis. Dylan Ennis was the other one. So if I can't believe I forgot. I really liked Ennis too. He's a Villanova transfer, had a really nice year. Anyway, Villanova transfer at 2 guard. Dylan Ennis, TJ Bamba. Bamba's a better player. But anyway, I think that Oregon lineup is crazy good. But if you take out Dante, if you can keep Nate Biddle healthy, that's been a challenge. I'll fully grant you that. Not going to deny. But if you keep Biddle healthy, we didn't really see him this year, but everyone remembers how good that guy is, right? 5-star recruit coming out of the state of Oregon. He's not as big. He's not as wide as N'Faly Dante, but he's a 7-footer. He can shoot, whereas Dante cannot, and he's every bit the rim protector, and he's also a really good athlete. And is just tremendously skilled. So if he stays healthy, and you're rotating 4 bigs, are Evans, Biddle, Angel, who can play power forward, and Traore, the true freshman, that's a good enough rotation of bigs to make a run. But if your rotation pushes Traore out and he essentially redshirts this year and your 4 bigs are Evans, Dante, Angel slide over with matchups and everything like that, and then Nate Biddle. Oh, man. That's a crazy talented team. So need N'Faly Dante? No, don't need. Welcome with open arms, though, because that would be just ridiculously loaded. I would honestly wonder how they could get everyone the basketball enough. They'd just be that talented. And you got to figure the injury bug will bite them at some point because, I mean, that's just standard operating procedure at this point for Dana Altman and company. And remember when everybody wanted to fire Dana Altman? Good times. Anyway, I know not everybody did. I thought about it, I discussed, but I did not get into that camp. And if you did, you just say, okay, I was wrong. Throw your hands up, say, all right, I give up. Dana Altman is great. Speaking of which, let's get out of here on this. Have you noticed the moves that Kelly Graves has made recently? I think the calls amongst Oregon fans online to remove Kelly Graves were stronger than Altman, understandably so. Given the struggles that Graves' team had this year, they just went out and got Deja Kelly, beg your pardon, Deja Kelly from North Carolina. That's just a 4-year starter, 3-time All-ACC guard, not the only portal move that he has made this offseason. So it was a slow time for Oregon recruiting. For basketball, and it was negative, right? Chance Gray left, Grace Van Sluten left, like everyone was leaving the Oregon women's program. They brought in some players, and Deja Kelly is the latest one that really turns some heads and makes you go, oh, is Oregon going to have a bounce back year? I feel better about the men's team than the women's team, but I'm just saying, don't count them out. And as everydayers know, I'm not only am I not sleeping on the men's team, I am hyping them up like I never have before, because if that Dante waiver gets approved, I'm going to have to literally jump for joy right here in my seat. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks.